All right, you beautiful bastards. Let's just cut the crap and dive headfirst into this fucking shitstorm that was World War II.
Sounds good to me.
But hold your dicks, because we're not going to be revisiting the same tired-ass stories that they try to shove down your throat in school.
Right.
We're going deep.
Yeah.
Unearthing all the weird shit.
For sure.
The bad shit, crazy stuff that'll make you go, holy fuck, no way.
That's what we're here for.
Fucking right. We've got this mountain of Wikipedia articles about World War II by country.
A lot of information.
And let me tell you, wading through that bullshit
Yeah.
was a mission.
Huge mission.
But you know what? We distilled it down to the good stuff.
The best stuff.
The juicy bits. The stuff that'll make you laugh,
And cry.
and maybe even piss yourself a little.
Hopefully not.
So buckle up, buttercups, because this is going to be a wild ride.
It is.
First stop, the ass end of the world.
Uh-oh.
Antarctica.
Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
On.
Here we go.
Fucking.
I love this already.
As crazy as it sounds.
Seriously.
It's true. In 1938, before the war even kicked off, the Nazis sent an expedition to Antarctica. Where they even claimed a chunk of it for themselves.
No way. What did they call it?
New Swabia.
New Swabia. Seriously. What the fuck were those kraut-munching bastards doing down there? Weren't they busy enough trying to conquer Europe?
Well, whale oil was a hot commodity back then.
Whale oil?
Yeah. Crucial for all sorts of industrial applications.
Like what?
Lubricants, explosives. The Nazis were desperate for resources, so securing a new source of whale oil would have been a major strategic win, but the timing of the expedition, right before the war, that's what really raises eyebrows.
So you're saying it wasn't just about blubber? There could be more to it.
Exactly.
Like what?
Some historians speculate that the Nazis might have been scoping out Antarctica for a potential secret base.
A secret base.
A hidden fortress far from prying eyes. Imagine a Nazi stronghold in the middle of the frozen wasteland.
Shit, that's some next-level Bond villain shit right there. A secret Nazi lair in Antarctica? I can already see the headlines. But let's leave those penguin-loving fuckers for now and hop over to the land of kangaroos and boomerangs.
Right.
Australia. Turns out, those Aussies didn't fuck around. They declared war on Germany even before the Yanks did.
That's right. Officially joined the war on September 3rd, 1939.
Wow.
Tied to Britain by the hip. They saw the Nazi threat for what it was and were ready to throw down.
Good for them.
What's particularly brutal is their involvement in the fighting in New Guinea.
New Guinea.
Yeah. We're talking jungle warfare at its worst.
Wow.
Disease and starvation were just as deadly as bullets.
Fucking hell, talk about a shit show. But hey, at least they had Vegemite to keep them going. Speaking of getting fucked over, let's talk about Bahrain. Bombs over oil, baby. The Italians, of all people, launched a fucking air raid on their oil refineries in 1940.
Wow.
What the hell were those pasta-slurping goons thinking?
It might seem random, but
What?
Bahrain was strategically important for the Allies.
How so?
They supplied a good chunk of the oil needed to keep the war machine running. The Italian raid, while not causing much damage, was a way to disrupt that flow and send a message.
So basically, a bunch of opera-singing asshats tried to blow up some oil wells and barely made a dent. Not exactly a proud moment for Mussolini.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Belgium. A country that tried to pull a Switzerland and stay neutral.
Yeah.
You all know how well that worked out.
Me too.
The Nazis blitzkrieged their asses, and their king, what was his name again?
Leopold III.
Yeah, Leopold III surrendered faster than a French soldier facing a baguette.
King Leopold's surrender was hugely controversial.
Really?
Some saw it as a pragmatic move to minimize casualties, while others condemned it as a cowardly betrayal.
Yeah, I can see that.
And to add insult to injury, the Congo.
The Congo?
Which was under Belgian rule at the time.
Right.
Ended up supplying uranium for the atomic bombs.
What? No shit. Talk about a fucked up legacy.
The Congo's role in the Manhattan Project is often overlooked. The uranium from their mines played a direct role in the development of the most destructive weapons ever created.
Damn.
It's a stark reminder of the complex.
Yeah.
And often morally ambiguous nature of war.
Damn, that's some heavy shit. From surrendering kings to nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
This is getting dark fast. But speaking of dark, let's talk about Winston Churchill's near-death experience. Apparently, the Japanese attack on Ceylon, now known as Sri Lanka, was what he called the most dangerous moment of the entire fucking war. Expert. Why was this tiny island such a big fucking deal?
Ceylon was a crucial British naval base in the Indian Ocean. If the Japanese had captured it, they would have controlled key shipping lanes, threatening Allied supply lines to India and the Middle East. It would have been a game changer.
So a bunch of samurai-wielding maniacs almost sank Churchill's battleship. That would have rewritten history as we know it. And speaking of rewriting history, let's head over to South America. Chile, you sneaky bastards. You played the neutrality game for most of the war, but you had your own Nazi drama going on behind the scenes.
Chile had a significant German community. With strong Nazi sympathies. In 1938, there was even a failed coup attempt backed by the Nazis.
What?
Yep.
A failed coup, Nazi spies, and a last-minute declaration of war in Japan in April 1945? Those Chileans were playing a dangerous game. But hey, at least they eventually picked the winning side, right?
Their late declaration of war on Japan was more symbolic than anything else.
I guess so.
But it reflected the changing political landscape as the Axis powers crumbled.
All right, let's move on to a country that deserves some serious respect. Ethiopia. While most of Europe was getting its ass handed to them, Ethiopia was kicking Mussolini's fascist ass out of East Africa.
Ethiopia's resistance against Italian occupation is a truly inspiring story. They were outgunned and outmanned, but they never gave up, waging a relentless guerrilla war that ultimately helped the Allies liberate East Africa.
Those Ethiopians were some badass motherfuckers. They showed the world that even a small nation can stand up to a tyrannical empire. Now let's talk about Finland. Their story is a real head-scratcher.
Finland was caught between a rock and a hard place.
How so?
Stuck between two aggressive superpowers, the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany.
So they were basically doing a tango with the devil, fighting off the Soviets one minute and then joining forces with Hitler the next. How the hell did they manage to survive that shitstorm?
It was a delicate balancing act driven by a desperate need to preserve their independence.
So
they fought off a Soviet invasion in the Winter War. Then, fearing further Soviet aggression, allied with Germany in the Continuation War. It was a pragmatic, if morally questionable, strategy for survival.
Moral compromises, shifting alliances, fighting for survival. Finland's story is a testament to the complexities of war. But let's not forget about France. Their story is one for the history books. The fall of France, the collaborationist Vichy government, and the badass resistance fighters who never gave up.
France's experience was truly dramatic. The initial shock of defeat and occupation, the moral dilemmas of collaboration versus resistance, and the eventual liberation.
Crazy.
It's a story that captures the full spectrum of human emotion and resilience.
From surrender to resistance, France's journey was a roller coaster ride. We'll be back after a quick break to dig deeper into their story and explore the unsinkable fortress of Gibraltar. Stay tuned, you magnificent bastards. France's story is wild, man. They went from getting their asses handed to them by the Nazis to having this Vichy government sucking Hitler's dick.
Oh, yeah!
All while the resistance was busy, giving those crowds hell.
Right.
Liberation in 44 was a turning point, but the scars of occupation and the whole collaboration thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that shit runs deep.
It does.
France definitely got a taste of that bitter pill, but hey, they got their revenge by helping to kick Hitler's ass in the end.
But they did.
Speaking of strategically important places, let's talk about Gibraltar.
Okay.
That tiny rock guarding the entrance to the Mediterranean was like a giant middle finger to the Axis powers.
Gibraltar's location was crucial. It became a key base for the Allies.
Really?
Playing a major role in Operation Torch, which was the invasion of North Africa.
I see.
And get this, they had this top-secret mission called Operation Tracer.
Operation Tracer, what's that?
They built this hidden bunker.
A bunker?
Designed to spy on the Nazis, even if the Germans captured the rock.
A spy bunker inside a goddamn rock those Brits were playing for. Keeps in Maria. What the hell were they hoping to find out with the Nazis planning a beach party in Spain or something?
The specifics of Operation Tracer are still a bit murky.
Okay.
But the idea was to have a team in place to gather intelligence in case Gibraltar fell.
I see.
It was like a last-ditch effort to maintain a foothold in the region.
Makes sense. I guess you gotta have a backup plan when you're dealing with a bunch of Nazi nutjobs.
Oh.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about India.
Okay.
They sent millions of soldiers to fight for the Allies, but the country itself was a political pressure cooker during the war.
India's role in World War II is often overlooked, but their contribution was massive. However, the country was deeply divided.
Divided? How so?
You had Gandhi leading the Quit India movement demanding independence, while others like Subhas Chandra Bose were actually trying to get support from the Axis powers. It was a chaotic time.
Gandhi and his independence-loving crew must have given the Brits a royal headache. But didn't India also suffer a horrific famine during the war?
Yeah, the Bengal famine of 1943 was a devastating tragedy. Millions died from starvation and disease, and the situation was made even worse by wartime shortages and disruptions. It's a dark chapter in India's history.
Jeez, that's just fucked up. War, famine, political turmoil. India got hit from all sides. Now, let's talk about another country that tried to stay neutral, Ireland.
Right. Ireland's neutrality was a tricky balancing act.
Tricky how?
Officially, they were out of the fight, but they ended up interning soldiers from both sides and even got accidentally bombed by the Luftwaffe.
So they were neutral, but still got bombed. Talk about bad luck. And wasn't there something about Churchill considering invading Ireland to seize their ports?
Churchill was pissed off by Ireland's neutrality.
I bet.
Seeing it as a potential security risk, he did explore the possibility of an invasion. But in the end, it was considered too risky and politically damaging.
Yeah, I can't blame Churchill for being pissed. Having a neutral country right on your doorstep when you're fighting for survival must have been a real pain in the ass. All right, let's jump across the globe to the Dutch East Indies, which is now Indonesia.
The Japanese invasion of the Dutch East Indies was brutal.
It was.
They were after the region's resources.
I see.
Especially oil. But ironically, their occupation inadvertently helped spark the Indonesian independence movement.
How the hell did that happen? Did the Japanese suddenly decide to spread democracy while they were conquering Southeast Asia?
Yeah. Not quite. By dismantling the Dutch colonial administration and promoting Indonesian nationalism, they basically created the conditions for Indonesia's eventual independence. It was a classic case of unintended consequences.
So the Japanese, those imperialistic bastards, accidentally helped liberate Indonesia. Now, that's a twist. But you know who else played a shady role in the war? Liechtenstein, that tiny country tucked away in the Alps. Turns out they were like the Nazis' personal piggy bank.
Liechtenstein's wartime activities were definitely controversial. They profited from Nazi loot and allowed wealthy Nazis to stash their cash, turning a blind eye to where the money came from.
Those sneaky bastards were making a killing while the rest of the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Okay, let's move on to Libya, a country that got caught in the crossfire between the Axis and the Allies.
Libya, being an Italian colony, became a battleground in the North African campaign.
Oh, yeah.
The Jewish community there faced persecution under Italian rule, and the entire country suffered the ravages of war.
Sounds like Libya had a rough time caught between empires and dealing with persecution.
No.
It's a reminder that war fucks over everyone, not just the major players. But let's lighten things up a bit. Did you know that Mexico joined the war because some German U-boats decided to sink their oil tankers?
It might seem like an overreaction.
Yeah.
But Mexico had every right to defend its shipping. They declared war on the Axis powers and even sent an air squadron to fight in the Pacific.
Wow.
They were the only Latin American country to do so.
Mexico? Those tequila-loving badasses weren't going to let some U-boats push them around. And speaking of unlikely combatants, let's talk about Nauru, a tiny island nation that got targeted for something truly bizarre bird shit.
Nauru's phosphate resources, which came from centuries of accumulated bird droppings, were valuable for making fertilizers and explosives. This made the island strategically important, leading to its occupation by Japan and attacks by both German and Allied forces.
Wait, so they were fighting over bird shit? That's got to be the weirdest reason for a battle I've ever heard. I guess when you're at war, even bird droppings become a strategic asset. All right, let's finish this section of our deep dive with Portugal. They were officially neutral, but they sure knew how to play both sides.
Portugal's neutrality was a delicate balancing act.
How so?
They sold tungsten, a crucial metal for making weapons, to Germany, while also allowing the Allies to use the Azores as a base. It was a risky strategy, but one that ultimately benefited them economically.
So they were selling war materials to the Nazis while letting the Allies hang out in their backyard, talk about having your cake and eating it too. But hey, I can't blame them for looking out for their own interests. All right, let's head into the final stretch of this wild ride through World War II's forgotten corners. Those slippery Portuguese bastards always working the angles. All right, let's wrap up this deep dive into the twisted underbelly of World War II. We've uncovered some seriously fucked up shit today.
We have.
Nazis chilling in Antarctica. Epic battles over bird shit.
That's right.
And countries playing both sides like a bunch of two-faced scumbags.
It happens.
It's enough to make your head spin faster than a Panzer tank on meth.
It really highlights the crazy complexities of history, especially when the whole world goes batshit insane and decides to fight each other.
Yeah.
The choices people and nations make, the compromises they have to swallow the unexpected consequences, it's all part of a massive, messy tapestry.
Damn straight. History is way more than just dates and battles.
It is.
It's about the stories of the people who lived through that shit.
Yeah.
The everyday heroes and the spineless bastards and how their actions rippled through time. Expert, after wading through all this insanity, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
For me, it's a reminder that even in the darkest, most fucked up moments, there's always a glimmer of hope. People find the strength to resist, to fight for what they believe in, and to rebuild from the ashes. World War II was a global catastrophe, but it also showed the incredible resilience of the human spirit.
Well said. And for you, dear listener, we leave you with this thought. If you were thrown into the middle of that shitstorm, how would you have navigated the chaos? Would you have been a badass resistance fighter, a spineless collaborator, or just a scared shitless civilian trying to survive? It's a question worth pondering. Until next time, you magnificent bastards, stay curious, keep your bullshit detectors on high alert, and don't let the bastards grind you down.